We're talking about something really interesting today, EFT. Let us know if you've ever heard of it, Emotional Freedom Technique. And I have Angie Spartz with me. She's going to tell us what it's all about. My name is Dale Ecuyer, and I help families create health and harmony using holistic mental wellness solutions. Angie's got all sorts of certifications. I'm just going to do this quick. She's a certified emotion code practitioner, Tiny Habits certified coach, certified Reiki practitioner, yoga instructor, certified group fitness instructor. And she is really passionate about helping moms create calm and balance to create a safe place for their children to thrive. We're on the same page as far as that goes, like helping moms, like we need some tools. Tell us what it's all about.
Emotion freedom technique, EFT, it's at a high level, it's just a tool to use to help calm our body. But if we peel away and go a little deeper, it actually is a system that uses the concept of the meridians, the energy pathways in our body. And you tap on different points of the body, different meridian points, to send a signal to your body that it is okay to flip out of fight or flight and to flip into calm. And we do that while we're saying the emotions that are triggering us, what's coming up, so that we can I like to talk about it like cleaning out a closet. You have to open up the closet door, dig through what's in the closet, pull out the junk you don't want, and then you start tapping on how you do want to feel. So then we start tapping on the positive beliefs and positive thoughts we want. So at a very high level, that's what it does for us. It helps us reach an emotional neutral point.
So it's a combination of tapping specific meridians and saying the words. So what are the words that you would say? Let's say you're in a really stressed state, like your kid is having a meltdown and you I don't know what to do right now because I'm going to flip out too. What would be the steps for that mom to take?
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you asked that. It literally can be as simple as whatever you are feeling in that moment. So I can show you, would you like me to show you just a little bit? If that was me in that moment, a lot of times, if I don't yet know what I'm feeling emotionally, I'll start with what I'm feeling physically. The first tapping point is the inside of the eyebrow. And I would just say, I'll back up. Some practitioners have you chop here first. It's called the karate chop point. I don't use that usually. It's not necessary, but a lot of practitioners will use that. But I would literally just say, even though I'm so overwhelmed and mad right now, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I don't even know what I feel right now and I want to know what I feel, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though right now I wish I could scream at the top of my lungs, I'm so mad, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And then you just kind of go from there. It might be this tightness in my chest, this pain in my head. Why do I have this headache? Releasing, having this headache, releasing, needing this headache to know how I'm feeling. Just kind of keep going until it just kind of flushes out.
So there's certain points that you're hitting. So this is the first point you're saying around here.
Yep. So there's 8, 9 if you use the karate chop point. So the first point is the inside of the eyebrow. And then it's the outside.
Temples.
Yep. And then it's under the eye. Okay. And then it's under the nose. And then the chin. And then these are called the K27 points. So if you can see my collarbone, it's right kind of below the collarbone. Okay. And some people will actually do this just to make sure they hit it all. I tend to go like this. Okay. And then the next point, we'll see. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see me. We'll lower it. It's right here, right at for women, basically the bra line. It's the rib cage. Okay. And then the final point would be the crown of your head.
Wow. So you go through, is it important to do the sequence of the different places?
Yeah, it's typically you follow that sequence, but it doesn't matter how long you stay on any one point. You could do 1 point per phrase that you're saying, or I've noticed that as I'll do it, some days I'll hit a certain point and I can actually feel emotion well and so then I think, you know what, I'm just going to stay there. Maybe something's kind of trapped there that needs to be released. So it's really just following the pattern at your own pace.
So then you talked about also, using the words to clear, say, you don't know what to do right now, whatever. And then,
Yeah.
so you said once you clear it, then do you go back and reinforce what you want to feel? That's what you said.
Absolutely. And in between, you can actually do, not all practitioners do this, but I really, really like it. You can put your hands on your heart and do a round of forgiveness. So you could say, even though I have believed that the only way to be heard is to yell, I forgive myself. I was doing the best I knew how. Even though this is what was modeled to me, I forgive my parents. They were doing the best they know how. And you can go through a round of forgiving and acknowledging that even in our messiness, we're still loved.
That's powerful. That is so powerful. Because I so believe that, that parents do the best they can at the time. And the more that we learn and the more that we know, the better that we'll do. So this is
Absolutely.
amazing. Now, what about children? Do you work with children? Do you teach children? This seems like a really awesome tool for kids to
Yes,
implement as well.
absolutely. You can do this with kids. And just so we don't forget that the final after the forgiveness, it actually would be to go back through the points and say the positive things that you want to feel and want to believe. So like in an anger or a triggering, that way it would be, I'm so grateful that am filled with peace and calm. I am grateful people hear me as I speak calmly. There's no need to raise my voice, and you just kind of go through what you want your reality to be. And you can feel yourself calm confidence then at that. But to your question with kids, absolutely. And it can be really simplified too for kids, and even for adults, what you say could be as simple as releasing, I'm mad. I don't like this situation. This is unfair. Why is my teacher not listening to me? And then the positive could be as simple as I like school. I am heard. I have good friends. I feel welcome. Keep it really short and simple sometimes with kids. If they do it with you, the more you can incorporate physical and the speaking, and the full embodiment of doing it, the more it'll shift. But I found with my sons, a lot of times I just need to do it in front of them and have them hear it. And even then that'll shift it. Or one thing I love about this technique is what I've been doing is basically called freeform tapping. I'm just kind of coming up with stuff as it goes. But I started by following other people's scripts because I was a little intimidated about, am I really going to remember where to tap? Am I really going to remember, what to say or know what to say? And there's a bunch of free scripts on YouTube where there's different practitioners just doing what I've just done during this live, but them going through. And so you could even just search, EFT tired, EFT anxious, things like that. And you're going to get a bunch of examples. So you could kind of practice with someone else via YouTube until you get more comfortable. And so sometimes I would even just go to YouTube and find a script that I thought fit what I thought they were feeling, and they weren't quite sure what they were feeling. And I would play it. And I mean, I've had literal instant turnarounds. One day I picked my son up from school and he was completely out of sorts. Like, I'm not doing my homework, blah, 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 and he wasn't listening and he was interrupting. And I played a script, and within 5 minutes, he said, when we get home, I think I'm going to do my homework. And I was like, I think that's a good choice.
Wow. So that's amazing. I mean, I love like the tangible tools because you can say the words or you can think them, like this is, I'm really mad and I want not to feel this way. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's the tangible things so that you can, I don't know, it just takes it to like another level, I feel. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Yeah. I agree with you, especially if you or your kids are tactile learners. Having that physical involvement is going to help. And I've told people, for me, a lot of times it almost becomes a physical form of meditation. It's a way where I can actually, as I'm doing it, you feel your emotions kind of rise and then fall. And I have become more aware of how my body physically responds to emotion. Because before I started tapping, because I started years ago, before I started tapping, I wasn't aware how my body physically responded to emotion. And now I know, typically I feel like a twisting in my chest. And so now I can go, if I feel a twisting, wait, what am I feeling? And then maybe I'll start tapping. Whereas before, I just knew I was overloaded with emotion and I would start tapping. And in tapping, I would start to notice my body's physical responses.
Right, right, right. The gut, which is my thing that I always talk about, like the core of everything. And kids
Yeah.
typically, they'll say, "Oh, my tummy hurts," but they're really like just that's a sign that they're really stressed, but they can't
Yes,
necessarily articulate it. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, making
Absolutely.
like who do you serve? I know you serve moms, but what is your thing where you guide people? Is it personal training or
Yes.
is it EFT or what is it?
My passion is helping moms find their calm and balance, because what I have found is that then will help their children thrive. So my backstory, my kids were born breaking out, super sensitive, which is why I so appreciate the type of work you do, because gut health was key to a lot of their healing. But I spent years focusing on them and what they needed, and they did improve. But I noticed when I actually, quite a few years ago, started realizing, you know what? I think I need to focus on healing myself from the inside out. Like, I'm not quite aware what I'm feeling. I'm not handling my triggers well. And when I started shifting that, I noticed huge shifts in my kids, not only emotionally, but physically. They started getting better too. And I realized that I had been bringing so much anxious, amped up, nervous energy to the family that they were just living in this heightened state of energy, that because the parents, as parents, our energy is going to run the family a little bit more than the kids.
Mhm.
They pick up on it and absorb it and don't know what to do with it. And so then they start reacting either behaviorally or physically or mentally. So I noticed how much it actually helped my kids improve too when I improved. So that my passion is really helping moms who feel that total overwhelm, that stress. And a lot of people who've researched, like I had read all the books, I knew what I was supposed to be doing, but in the moment when it mattered, I couldn't figure out how to implement that. And
Mhm.
so
Wow.
I help moms do that. I help moms get more in touch with working through what's triggering them. So I do a lot of wounded inner child healing work, a lot of
Mhm.
releasing old trapped emotions, because I am a certified emotion code practitioner. So for some people, I only do emotion code, which is just identifying emotions we've held on to that are not serving us well and helping release those. And then for other people, I do full coaching, which would be helping them identify why they have their triggers, and then working through different tools like EFT and journaling and a bunch of other tools to help them minimize the triggers. I like to think of it as when I used to be triggered all the time, I had bullseyes this big, tons of them, and it didn't take much to hit my buttons and send me
Mhm.
off. But
Mhm.
now through the work, what we can do is we can take those bullseyes and shrink them way down. So it's much harder for people to find those buttons to push, and some of them will disappear completely. So then you just find that you're just not triggered as often because you feel more centered and whole.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Holy smokes. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, and I know parents like, I'll do anything for my kid and they're constantly like focused on their kid. And I'm all about it. I do anything for my kids, but you are the lighthouse. Like you're the flight attendant in the
Yes.
home. They're feeling your energy, like you said. So if you're stressed out and you're adding, to their meltdown or because they're feeding off of your energy, like it's like complete chaos.
Absolutely. It's crazy
You
making, right?
Right. So it's like get you in place, get you strong, get you centered. Like you said, heal those wounds, your own wounds first, and then you can respond more calmly to just the normal stresses that kids have.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
Yeah. And the biggest hurdle for a lot of people is releasing the false belief that it's selfish to do that. Because that's why I had avoided it for so long, because it was like, no,
Mhm.
I'm a mom. I should be focusing on my kids. And then realizing it's actually the farthest thing or furthest thing from being selfish, because in focusing on ourselves and healing ourselves, we can then show up as the best parents possible. And also our kids are watching us 100% of the time, right? And so
Yeah.
if we start modeling good self-care, they're going to start modeling self-care or learning what self-care is too, so they can show up as calm and centered in their life. And the best thing too, one thing I found, because I've found so many tools where I'm like, oh, I wish I could go back in time to when my kids were little babies and implement it right away. But remembering, like, I just was told this, when's the best time to plant a tree? Well, 60 years ago or today. It's never too late. That our kids learn from us every day. And even if they're much older, even adult children, it will drastically change the dynamic of that relationship still. So,
Yeah. Yep, always forever learning and growing. And they see us doing that. And they see us like forgiving ourselves for mistakes, maybe
yes.
apologizing to them for maybe not being the best, but we're all human. We make mistakes, we learn, we grow. Yeah, this was so good. All right, we'll see you again.